What a year this has been. After almost a decade, I brought my show GFrom Reviews back from the dead. For years, I did not know if and how I could continue with the show. YouTube and online content in general has changed so much since I was active between 2009 and 2011. I tried a few different things over the years, some of which I never released to the world. I just hadn't found my passion project yet. At the beginning of this year, I finally felt ready to release new material with an updated theme song, a new logo, and a sweet animated intro. I'm happy to report that I've had just as much fun making these videos as I did back then, only now I feel I have a lot more freedom to do what I want. When I started, YouTube had an 11-minute time limit on videos. Yeah, remember that? I like to thank one person in particular who has helped out a lot this year. I'm talking about my American friend Patrick, who some of you might know as SNESman16. He not only created my theme song, but also reads my scripts before I record them and gives me helpful feedback and suggestions. So thank you, Patrick. I am so grateful for everything. You can check out his current projects in a link in the description. This year I reviewed a dozen games. 6 of them were games that I also reviewed on the first run of my show way back when. I focused on Sega and PlayStation because that's what I grew up with. You might have noticed a pattern with the selection of games. My reviews always come in pairs. It doesn't have to be that way forever, but for now it's what I like to do. So I reviewed 2 Alien games, 2 Tekken games, 2 Streets of Rage games, 2 Tomb Raider games, and 4 Sonic the Hedgehog games. As a nice way of ending this season, I'd like to rank these games, just like I did in 2010 and 2011. Due to COVID restrictions, my friends won't be here to join me this time. I'll use clips of them from 2010 instead. This list is purely based on my personal enjoyment of these titles. The order of lists like this always changes over time, but this is where I stand for now. Please join me as I count down my top 12 games from Season 1.
Alles Klotz Productions. Number 12.
Out of all the games I reviewed this year, Alien Resurrection for the PlayStation is the only game I couldn't finish legit. Also, it's the only game from this list that's not from the 90s, but the year 2000. Technically, it's the most impressive game on the console, with incredible graphics and a really creepy atmosphere. Unfortunately, it's so brutally difficult and frustrating that I found it pretty much unplayable as soon as you reach level 5. It was originally supposed to be the second episode, but I had to take a few breaks because it was too much for me. I can't stand it and probably won't play it ever again. In this stage you play as Call, the android who was played by Winona Ryder in the movie.
My magnets fall off my damn fridge!
As soon as you open the door, you get attacked. And then again, and again, and again, and again. I haven't even left the first room! Surprise! Welcome to level 5, bitch! After this, I didn't play the game for 1 entire month, but I left the game on my table and it stared into my soul, reminding me daily of the duties I had yet to fulfill.
11.
Tekken for the PlayStation is a game that was revolutionary but hasn't aged well at all. The controls feel stiff and unresponsive at times. It doesn't help that even the sequels on the same console play so much better. My biggest gripe is the difficulty, which is insane even on the easiest setting. As someone who didn't grow up with the first game in the series, I just couldn't connect with it and won't replay it anytime soon. At the heart of a fighting game is the 2-player mode, but during lockdown I don't get to play Tekken games with my friends anymore. So I guess I just have to play with myself. You sick bastard. From Chicago and Kyoto to King George Island and Angkor, like Monument Valley, which is my least favorite stage overall, and Angkor. I'm sure I would feel different about it, just like I have strong nostalgic feelings for Balls 3D.
Number 10.
Kind of an odd choice for the first episode now that I think about it. Once my favorite first-person shooter of all time, Alien Trilogy for the PlayStation has many strong elements like the excellent soundtrack. It's a pretty long game and by the end it gets really tough, especially on the hardest difficulty. It lacks variety and therefore the replay value isn't that high for me. As I beat it 3 times for the video, I think I'm done with it for good. If you like old school shooters, this one is definitely worth checking out for the atmosphere alone. Well equipped, we enter level 7, the garage. While wearing camouflage, waiting for my entourage, giving me a hard ass motherfucking back massage. Shout out to King Solomon and Giggles, yo. You can barely see the aliens in this pixelated mess, which makes it even more unsettling.
The fear of the unknown might be our biggest fear.
When I played this, I didn't realize why I took so much damage here. There was no enemy in sight. Turns out it was too damn hot in here.
Number 9.
I reviewed both the Game Gear and Master System versions of the first Sonic the Hedgehog, the Master System being the clear winner. It's a rather short game, but make no mistake, those bottomless pits will haunt your dreams. I like that it's not just a watered down version of the Mega Drive game, but has its own levels and game mechanics. Even though concepts like an auto-scrolling level pretty much failed, I applaud the developers for at least trying new things. A decent entry in the long lineage of Sonic games. Sega.
What does it mean?
At least Sonic doesn't need air all of a sudden.
Tell me your secret, Sonic.
Just stop! What's Sonic's deal anyway? He looks like a goddamn hamster.
No boy.
I also reviewed both 8-bit versions of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. While the Game Gear port is a mess that suffers from terrible screen crunch, the Master System version is an improvement over the first game. The stage gimmicks are hit or miss, a great one being the minecarts. A few stages are terrible, but I enjoy most of them. It's a mostly overlooked game that deserves more attention. This act features the most head-scratching moment in the entire franchise. Okay, I take that statement back. I could go on for a while about how this is not worthy of Sonic's name, but I'll probably get a heart attack if I don't stop ranting. Breathe, GFrom. Breathe. He looks up into the sky and we see the ghost of Tails. Wait a minute. Did Robotnik actually kill a sweet little fox? What a fucking monster! No, 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 we can't have that.
Number 7.
Tekken 2 for the PlayStation improves on the first game in every way. We have a lot more characters, more stages, and new modes that set the standard for many sequels to come. The arcade mode is fair this time around, and the fighters have learned many new moves that elevate the experience. Another highlight is the CGI cutscenes, which were great for their time. It's not even close to being my favorite Tekken game, but I still have fun with it.
Bake, back. Announcer guy, could you help me out?
Hey, cool Tosan.
Well, that didn't help at all. Bruise, bruche, brush. Announcer guy, could you help me out?
Bruce Irving.
First, he throws him off a cliff as a child, then Kazuya throws Heihachi off a cliff in Tekken, and now a goddamn volcano? Jesus Christ, maybe y'all should consider a few family therapy sessions or something. Ask Nina for advice.
From here on out, the list gets tough. The following 6 games are all some of my favorite games of all time, and picking an order felt almost impossible.
Number 6.
Streets of Rage 2 for the Mega Drive/Genesis is better than the first game in many aspects. The graphics got a major update and it's amazing how much better it looks just 1 year after the original. Quality-wise, the soundtrack is probably the best on the entire system. It's some next level shit. Add addictive gameplay to the mix and you have one of the greatest beat-em-ups there is. Can I buy you a drink on this lovely evening?
I guess that's a no?
Then we enter a spooky area, which is heavily inspired by the Alien franchise.
Now this is more like it.
I dig Alien.
What the hell is that?
Is it a living organism? Is it a machine? Is it imagination? Or just a bad dream?
5! Number 5! Yeah! Oh, 5! Woo!
Tomb Raider 2 for the PlayStation also improves on its predecessor in most areas. First and foremost, the controls feel a lot less stiff and more responsive. The weapons arsenal has been upgraded and shooting yetis with a grenade launcher never gets old. Some levels are a tad too complicated for my taste, but most of them are fun to explore. With an overall darker tone, it's a standout title in the series with many exceptional moments and memorable set pieces. A blue sky in a Tomb Raider game. 2 out of 10, this game sucks, not enough black. And then we can drop down the chimney. Down the chimney. This place is fucked. Parts of the house are flooded, sandbags fall from the ceiling, and there is broken glass everywhere. People pissing on the stairs, you know, they just don't care.
Alarm!
Alarm! Alarm!
2 mystic plaques open the gate to the next area with a bridge and a burning rooftop. The roof is on fire. The exit opens, but the ceiling starts to collapse and it burns. Burn, motherfucker. Burn.
Well, hello.
Don't you think you've seen enough?
Number 4.
While the sequel is technically superior and offers more variety, I still prefer the original Streets of Rage on the Mega Drive. The gameplay is a bit faster and I find myself coming back to this game more often. It also has a revolutionary soundtrack that I can listen to any day of the week. If only the boss fights weren't so cheap, I would love it even more. Who doesn't love calling for backup on a riverboat? Mr. X has taken over the city, including the government and the police.
Mr. X. What a great and original name!
In stage 8, you walk from right to left.
This is insanity! How did they come up with this brilliant game changer?
Say no instead. Evil man, how dare you assume my gender?
So let's wrap this up. Hey! What the fuck is wrong with you? How can you wrap things up when you haven't said one word about the most beloved aspect of this game? What are you talking about? Did you mute the TV or something? Oh right, the sound effects. Thanks. I can't believe this guy.
Number 3.
Sonic the Hedgehog for the Mega Drive was the first game I remember playing. While more and more people seem to criticize it, I can genuinely say that I still love this game like when I was a child. The colorful visuals along with the memorable music instantly transport me back to a simpler time in my life. In my opinion, it still holds up very well. It's a game I replay often and it's always a blast to come back. Yeah, I can see some of you jumping out of a window at the sight of this. This is not a drill because Sonic can't breathe underwater. What did you expect? He's a goddamn hedgehog. Now it's time to finish Robotnik for good. Until he comes back in more sequels and spin-offs than the human race is capable of counting.
The final 2 games are pretty much on the same level for me and the order could change depending on the mood I'm in. But I had to make a choice, even if it was a tough one.
Number 2, Senor Bond.
Tomb Raider for the PlayStation might be the most important game in my gaming life. It was the first time I moved around in a 3D environment and it changed everything. Sadly, it has aged poorly when it comes to the graphics and controls. But once you look past that, you have a game that set the standard for action-adventure titles and remains undefeated when it comes to feeling isolated and trapped in a video game. With some incredible levels and enemies like the T-Rex and a legless mutant, it's a classic that I will enjoy playing for the rest of my life. How tall? Just ask Lara. I counted 6 floors. Thanks, Lara.
Pierre, you litterbug.
Pierre, you litterbug. I don't know why, but I've always liked that line.
Plus, I find it amusing to yell
Pierre
every time he shows up.
You could make a sweet drinking game around that concept. Pierre, Pierre, Pierre.
You litterbug.
Pierre.
Who was absent from the previous stage shows up not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Give my liver a break. Pierre. Au revoir, Pierre.
Now we have all of our weapons back.
What did he just say? I'm glad that rude man is dead.
Look how much ammo and medicine I had left. It's kind of a waste.
Maybe I was the litterbug all along.
Number 1.
For me, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Mega Drive is as close to video game perfection as you can get. The addition of the Super Spin Dash and Super Sonic turned the speed dial to over 9,000. Levels like Chemical Plant and Mystic Cave Zone are among my favorite Sonic levels in existence. Stunning visuals and catchy music along with great level design and fun gameplay make it one of the best games I have ever played. It continues to bring me joy on every single playthrough. There's even video footage of me playing this game in the mid-90s when I still lived in Sweden. Look at that laser focus in my eyes. I took that shit seriously.
Thank God I couldn't read back then, because I actually read the back of the box out of sheer boredom and I couldn't believe what I saw.
The Swedish text doesn't call him tails, but fracken. Fracken?
What the frack is a fracken? As far as I know, he's never been called that anywhere else, ever again.
Fracken. These blue balls look impressive.
I really shouldn't say that.
These blue spheres look impressive.
But just like in real life, it hurts when you touch them. There's a 2-player versus mode. If only I had someone to play with. Did somebody say 2-player mode? Yeah, whatever, sit down and play.
But most of the time, it looks like this.
Hey, wait for me! Where the fuck am I? Not so fast! Man, this sucks my will to live. Time to fuck off. Thank God. And that's it for Season 1. Thank you all for your support this year, and I hope to see you all when I release Season 2 in 2022. I have some fun things planned that you can look forward to.
Hey everyone, this is GFrom. Thank you so much for watching my video. Feel free to rate, comment, subscribe and follow me on social media. I'll see you later. Have a nice day.